Hi, you guys. Okay, Snowfall season 5, episode 2, commitment. Okay, I'm going to break down Teddy's mission of getting his job back. 11 months prior from when we seen Teddy at Brady's house dressed up as LA Power and Water, he went down to visit his old boss. He tells them that he's been in contact with his old contacts and that not going good down there. Boss man is playing the 50 as if he don't know what the hell Reed is talking about. And he said, well, if I do know what you're talking about, what did you have in mind? Reed told him, just tell him that you may have a possible contact that knows about the 7 hostages down in Iran. Snowfall is based on true historical facts. And at this time, what was going on was Iran had 7 American hostages, and Reagan, he put an order in to get the hostages back home safely by any means necessary. But at the same time, his thing was he does not negotiate with terrorists. So because of this, he has to make a deal underhanded with terrorists. This man was reluctant, but he asks Teddy, are you sure you're making good use with your time? And Teddy said, as opposed to what? And he said, your wife and your child. And Teddy was like, oh no, they're good. Because Teddy been spying on them. Julia got her little friend, and it seems like their son likes him. He said his country needs him now. So they send him on down. Here's where he meets up with Ivy. And this is about 5 months later. So Ivy is down in Germany and he has a hostage down there. So Reed walks in and he tells Reed that Iranian Revolutionary Guard confiscated his guns, and he says to Reed, I told you that not to be trusted. Ivy, prior to, he paid them off and they still confiscated his weapons. And the hostages still haven't been released. Also, Ivy has to ask for his commission. So at this point, the math isn't mathing. He tells him he'll look into it just to let that hostage go. But we know that Ivy's lifelong commitment is to his people and paying back them Nazis that committed genocide on his people. He said you don't go to Paris and not get a croissant. So why would he come to Germany and not get him a Nazi? And he does tell Reed that if he, in fact, isn't a Nazi, that he'll let him go. I mean, come on, I think that's fair. Reed go back to Boss Man and he tells them that they're getting cheated and that he needs to fix this thing with Iran because the Contras are losing the war. They're not bringing in enough money to fund the war and they're losing. Reed tells Boss Man, look, every contact has told him that the arms had slowed up. Reed asks Boss Man what is happening in LA because remember, the drug money funds the war in Nicaragua. Boss Man called Reed out. He's like, I got your game. You come up here getting good with me so I can see you fit. And as soon as shit hit the fan in LA, I don't have no other choice but to send you back. Reed tells him, look, no one else knows the operation like me. Let me investigate what's really going on. Now we get a timeline. Teddy said it's been like almost a year and without any follow-ups on what Irene put out there to the press. A few politicians tried to use it to get in the headlines, but ultimately they sound like conspiracy theorists. Boss Man gives Reed the green light, and here's where we see Reed as LAWP disguise. Spying on Grady. Reed is peeping out all of the things, the cars in the driveway, and he seems to be a little jelly, like he scratched that man's car up. That was so unnecessary, Reed. Reed knows that Grady just purchased that home because remember he just asked him when he was at the meters. And we can also see that he's been spying on Franklin. I mean, why would he go down and spy on Grady and not Franklin to see what's really going on? So he has pictures of Franklin and his crew and friends, people he be with. Reed reports back to Boss Man. He tells him that Grady is a mess. It's a massive hole in the funds that he brings back compared to the amount of product that he's putting out, which means he's skimming. Reed also tells Boss Man about Grady and Franklin being in real estate together. Boss Man asks Reed, is he sure that he can even work with Franklin considering the history. And Rita's like, what? That I made him rich, got him out of jail, saved him from that reporter. Yeah, we'll be fine. And Boss Man's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you did in Cuba to his father. Reed said, I don't know what you're talking about. And of course, we still don't know the details of what happened to Alton. Boss Man gives the orders to Reed to get Grady in line and to do it quietly. Grady meets up with Franklin, and Franklin is asking about the price cut. Grady say, I can give you a price cut under one condition. You take me on a plane ride. Shit, that's it? You got that. Franklin got Grady in high altitudes quicker than a bird flying south for the winter. Stay in the friendly skies. Franklin and Grady are having small talk. Grady asks Franklin if he thinks that Veronique is a keeper. Franklin tells him, yeah, I think she's a keeper. And he tells Franklin that he has 4 ex-wives. They were all keepers until they weren't. Grady asks Franklin, did he want kids someday? Franklin doesn't mention the baby that's on the way, but he does answer yes. And Grady tells him his kids will be lucky to have him, and it'll be like they hit the lottery. Well, in my opinion, Veronique hit the damn lottery. I'm sorry, I just don't trust her. Franklin comes in his home and finds Veronique on the floor with her entire 6-month plan mapped out on the floor. This date is to sign the trust for me, the baby, and me. This date is for the 501 nonprofit. She got her chakra-colored sticky notes to match. Listen, Veronique is intelligent and strong-minded. She seems to know what she wants, and she could be very determined to reach her goals. It's nothing wrong with that, but Franklin is too trusting. Now that we have a timeline, okay, it's been over a year since Franklin put his trust into Nancy. Now, here comes another bitch in her chakra. And what I think most it is for Franklin is through Veronique, Franklin sees his mother. You know, somebody driven, determined. She know the real estate game. She loves all on Franklin. But she concerns me because whenever they talk about money, he gets so excited, which is nothing wrong with that as well. I get excited when I talk about money. Franklin simp ass gives her a personal equity stake in the building that they're looking to purchase, the one she put him onto. And remember, she told Franklin that she worked to get to where she is. Concern with that is she's saying it like she was in a big company or corporation and she actually worked her way all the way up to the top. Here, that's not the case. Franklin was in a position where he can put her on and put her in that position. Remember, she mentioned to Franklin that if he want to go fast and far, to follow her. Veronique is running shit for real, not Franklin, and that is alarming. Veronica, damn it. And Franklin brings this investment opportunity to Jerome and Lloyd. Veronica explains the deal. It's a building that will be a part of the community redevelopment, and they're trying to come up with most of the money, so they would have to ask less from the bank, which then the bank would have less control. Franklin is trying to convince them to take their money out of the Panama Bank and invest $10 million legitimately, and they would have a legitimate stream of income within 3 years. He does explain that this is a long-term investment. Jerome is like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that is like all our money. Louis tells them that they have to think about it. Veronica kisses Franklin goodbye, and the way Louis cut her eye at her, I was like, yeah, that confirms to me that this bitch Veronique isn't right. After she leaves, Lloyd asks about Rob and Thad. Franklin tells them that they took care of Thad and Rob is out. So they're like, what do you mean out? So when they realize that Rob is out, dead, it kind of fucked them up. Even Peaches was kind of fucked up when Franklin killed him that night. Franklin explains to them that Rob was far gone off the crack rocks. And I think Jerome was disgusted because he's like, damn, nephew, wow. I told y'all Franklin is a monster. And his moral compass is janky as shit. Franklin goes to see Leon. And Leon these days is humble. He took a busload of kids on an outing. He said he's trying to expose them to different things. Leon vibe is just totally different. You go in his dwellings is peaceful. He's doing more reading. Franklin brings up the long-term business investment to Leon as well. And Leon isn't with none of that shit. He told him quick as shit, no, I'm good. And I told y'all, Leon is just like Kodak Black. Leon stay in them projects. Franklin says to Leon, look, you know that I don't pry about what you do with your money. I just want you to have a plan. And Leon said, I have more than I ever thought that I would have or even need. So I would much rather keep my money in shoe boxes and love seats rather than investing in buildings that white people just want to keep us out of. Rome told Leon about Rob, and he tells he makes Franklin aware of that, and Franklin tells him that it had to be done. And Leon, with disgusting, like he could have got clean. Again, Franklin says to him, you didn't see him. He could have folded at any minute. It had to be done. Franklin follows up with the pregnancy announcement. He tells Leon is happy for him, and Franklin tells him that's why I have to keep shit tight. And Leon must have been feeling like me because he got quiet. Oh, so it's enough reason to kill someone, Franklin? Sorry, not someone, your day one. I'm sure Leon was thinking, so what about me? I mean, Franklin is giving me narcissist vibes. Franklin notices Leon awkward silence, and he tells him, I see you thinking it, so you might as well just say it. And Leon is like, no, you gonna be a daddy now. I'm happy for you. Leon's silence is humility. I believe he's seeing with what Franklin is morphing into. Okay, also over here, he's doing the daddy thing, taking care of his cousin's kids. He's dropping them off to school, and Reed runs down on him. Reed compliments him about the kids, and he asks about Zamaria. Also said that Zamaria likes the lifestyle a little bit too much. Reed mentions that he thought that by now Oso would have had tracked down Lucia with the information that he gave him last season. So tells him, yeah, I thought about it, but I realized that my life is here. He asks Reed, like, what's up with you? Why are you here? Reed tells him that Grady has been compromised and that he's coming back and that he want to know that Oso is with him. And Oso is like, that's all I want to do is take care of my family. And Reed tells him, look, I got you, same as before. Also tells him, like, look, Grady isn't going to be happy about losing his position. He likes it. He tells him, well, look, he don't have no other choice. And also tells him, like, okay, but, Grady isn't such a bad guy, and he's more fun than you. Louis and Jerome is over there at Ivy's. They're buying some guns from him, a lot of them. I like those little mini Uzis. They were cute. Ivy called Louis and Jerome Bonnie and Clyde. He referred to them as Bonnie and Clyde. And Jerome was like, damn, it ended bad for them. And Ivy's like, no, not that part. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you have a partner in crime. Y'all work together. Y'all make money together. Y'all just doing y'all thing. And he tells Louis, I hope that he's making you happy. When they get in the car, Louis asks Jerome, what was all that about? Do you think Ivy was right? And Jerome said, you trying to figure out what's going on with Ivy, you'll end up in a straitjacket. Louis says to Jerome, no, I'm asking you, are you happy? She tells him that she appreciates him and that she knows that he's in the game only because she is in the game. And that's everything to her. She tells Jerome that he is a king among men. Is Jerome happy? Louis is right. Jerome is only there because she is. Off surface, Jerome is like, hell yeah, I'm happy. I'm rich. I got your pretty ass sitting over there. I got everything that I possibly need and want. Jerome never really did have any direction in his life. He sold weed. He was living in the home that he inherited from his mom. He loved himself some Louis. Although I do believe that Louis is in love with Jerome. She truly do love him. Louis always craved this lifestyle, just like her friend down in Little Rock said. And I think for her, mainly, Jerome is her safe space. He's loving. He's going to look out for her. He's loyal to her. And that's why we see clearly that Lloyd runs this relationship. Jerome will follow Lloyd into hell's fire. Jerome is loyal to a fault when it comes to her. And I think for Jerome to decide that male ego and follow his woman in this game and let her do her thing, and he just sit in the sideline and support her, that's what makes Jerome a king among men. Franklin calls Sissy down in Cuba, and the connection is shitty. Remember, this is the 1980s. Franklin managed to get out that Veronique is pregnant, and Sissy seems overjoyed. She seems so happy. But fuck all that. Because I want to know what happened to Alton. By this time, what is going on? We should know something. Boss man mentioned that, Teddy did in fact do something to Alton down in Cuba. But does Franklin know what did happen? I mean, shit, I need to hear Franklin talk about that damn baby. I want to know about Alton. I knew Alton first. Wanda is on a winding road to recovery. It has not been easy for her. She had to quit her job because bullshit ass boss shorted her from her paycheck because of fines that he had to pay that had nothing to do with her. Not only that, this clown going to tell Wanda that if she parties with him that they can work something out. And what he meant by party is he wanted to sniff some cocaine and do what adults do. Wanda said, fuck you and fuck this job. And I'm glad she did it because that would have cost her sobriety. She been bitten to Leon about her job and just everything that she's going through. So Leon offered to send some boys down there to straighten her boss out. She like, nah, it ain't really about that. It's just everything. And it just took her months to find that job. She tells Leon what it really is that when it gets down to her 2-year gap, when she was out in the streets, that jobs are always asking, what's going on? What were you doing in between this time? Then she got to sit up there and explain her life in the streets and her getting high. And then people cast judgment upon her. So Leon suggested that she just don't say anything about that. And she tells him, no, that's a part of the sobriety is being honest with yourself and the world around you. I'm sorry, it's a part of the rehabilitation. Wanda says to Leon, look, Lee, you have to help me. I got to do something. You have to put me on. And Leon is like, you want to be working around that shit? It's just been a year. He tells her, absolutely not. You're going to have to think of something else because around here, we don't got nothing for you. I hope that Leon and Wanda get back together and they be like Jerome and Lloyd. I would like that for them. Leon has always been loyal to Wanda. Okay, Reed done let himself inside Grady's home. So Grady clocks him soon as he looks at him. He says, DWP, without the wig. Why are you here? Teddy said, well, this house, those cars, and all the money that you've been putting into your pocket and not the cars. Grady said, oh, with all the money flowing around, I thought that included me as well. Go to your boss and tell him, okay, I won't do it again. Teddy tells him that it's a little too late for that. It's over now. Grady said, hell no, it ain't. Who has a relationship with the Colombians? Who can get 500 keys across the border and come back and move them? Well, Teddy lets him know that he's talking to Mr. Pusher Man himself. Once Teddy realized that he was talking to the man he replaced, Grady clocks Teddy's entire existence. Grady says to Reed, oh, you're the guy who almost went down with the ship. What did they do? Did they dang a carrot on a stick for you to come back? Oh, you probably asked for your job back. You're one of those believers that realize that this is all a joke. See, now I'm with Grady on that one when he says that Teddy doesn't realize that this is all a joke. Teddy gets off on controlling this mission, a mission that brings cocaine into America, floods communities, and poison people. Just because Grady skims a portion all of the power for himself doesn't make Teddy a better human being. Grady asks Teddy, why do you want this so bad? What is it? Your wife left you for another guy? Your kids doesn't want shit to do with you? Your parents probably kicked you around so much as a kid that you believe you wasn't worth a damn. Well, damn. That was a very accurate analysis of Teddy. Reed tells Grady to keep the car and the money and just leave by tomorrow. And Grady tells him that he's not giving up his position. And he threatens to let out information. And that's when I'm like, oh, Grady, this is where you fucked up. The next night, Grady is having a drink before he goes to bed. Next thing you know, Grady is on the floor vomiting, puking out his guts. Reed comes in while Grady's all on the floor looking at his feet. Reed says to Grady, this isn't because you insulted me. It's because your waste cost countless lives. Teddy has a God complex. Teddy, what about your waste? I'm speaking of cocaine, costing people countless lives. People overdosing, killing people over this shit. You're no better, Teddy. Next, Reed pays Franklin a surprise visit. Indeed, Franklin was surprised. Now, at this scene, Franklin's shoes is at the door, which lets me know that he doesn't let people walk on his carpet with shoes on. But he doesn't ask Reed to remove his shoes. And I'm not saying that Franklin is afraid of Teddy, but he definitely feels Teddy holds power. Teddy comes in and he compliments Franklin on his home, saying it's everything that he expected from Franklin, talking about Franklin's pilot license, and he mentioned a girl. Now, Franklin shifts the conversation without acknowledging any of what Reed was saying. And Franklin says to Reed, well, things been running smooth. I got to call Grady. He's been doing a good job. As to ask Reed, why are you here? Well, Reed came over to power play. He tells Franklin that I know you like Grady. His job is to make sure of that. But he made some really poor choices, fraternizing and getting into real estate with his contact. That's just too much. He tells Franklin, I know you thought that because you was in legitimate business with him that he wouldn't fuck you over. But let me tell you, Grady was not your friend. Teddy goes on to say, now that Grady has been taken care of, we can get back to how business should be done, starting right now. Franklin on the inside is like shit, but he tells Reed, well, we got shit done before. There's no reason why we can't right now. Reed tells Franklin that the stakes has never been higher, so no more mistakes, follow-ups, or loose ends. Tells Franklin that he'll be in touch with information on the next drop and to sell Grady home and give him the cash. He asks Franklin if he can keep the decorative lighter that Franklin had in his home. Franklin said, go ahead, it's your world, I just sell dope in it. Like I said, Franklin knows that Reed holds some type of power. Franklin definitely feels that Satan had made his return. Before Reed leaves, Franklin tells Reed about the deal that Grady made, $9,000 per key. And Reed said, no, yesterday prices will remain yesterday prices, 10 a key. In my opinion, Reed did all of this to show Franklin who really holds the power. And this is going to be interesting because both Franklin and Reed are power struck. They both have godlike complex. I do believe that Franklin thought that by him and Grady being in business, that Grady wouldn't let anything happen to him. And just like he told Veronique that day, that because Grady had business tied up with them, that he wouldn't let anything happen to him. And this is Franklin's way of psychologically controlling the situation, or thinking he have control of it. So when Reed showed up today, it shook Franklin's spirit. I know it did. I would love to see these two godlike personalities bump heads this season. It's been long enough. And that's where the episode ends. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.